live streaming, aren't we? So we can just go. So, welcome everybody. Nice to see you, Ian, Liam and Chris. Thank you very much for coming. Our clerk, Steve Bradbury, is away, so he will write the minutes from the YouTube recording. Councillor Forgem is on holiday. He's joining us via Zoom. He'll be able to speak, but under the government rules for this, he can't vote, nor does he count towards the quorum. But the quorum's 3, and there are 5 of us here. So
at the moment,
so we'll be okay. Though I do have to declare an interest in one item, so that will drop us down a bit for that. The summary of the main points this evening for residents who may be deciding whether to stay tuned in or tune out are we've got a number of planning applications for tree trimming, which are usually fairly routine, but you do need it if they're in the conservation area or have got tree protection orders on them. I would remind residents to take care if they're trimming trees and they are in conservation areas, that they do need to worry about that. There are 2 other planning applications, one for a new café up at the Lodge Farm Business Court, and a new porch at the rear of 9 Prospect Place. There's a resolution to request a grant for a project under the Community Infrastructure Fund, which is an MKC fund, which offers match funding to parish councils. And I have a recommendation that we apply for a grant for new solar-powered speed indicator devices. We've got a formal item in which I have to declare an interest, which is the renewal of the sublease between the Shop Association and Udi and Dina. I'm a director of the Shop Association, so I will be stepping back. You will have to elect a chair just to deal with that item and to progress it.
7.3.
Indeed, 7.3. We've got to approve the specification for the renewal of the landscaping contract, which has got to be renewed next year, which is being done in conjunction with Castlethorpe Parish Council again. We've got to comment on a document that MKC have published called Working Together. I would like to formally thank the organisers and helpers of the Jubilee celebration, so I'll come to that. I have put a note in the folder. And as well as the usual payment schedule that's got to be approved, we have to approve the annual return, which is the statement of the parish council's accounts for last year. And these will go to our external auditor, and then by law they will be published on the website and on the notice boards. There is a part 2 when the public will be asked to leave the hall and the live stream will be stopped so that we can discuss some confidential items, though the decisions arising from those items will be published. Tonight we will consider quotes for resurfacing the tennis courts, reviewing the rate of pay for the village hall cleaner, considering taking legal advice on the percentage of affordable housing at Carrington Close, and considering next steps in the transfer of the sports ground from the Allotments Association to the Parish Council. And finally, we have the Clerk's annual review. So that's really the matters that we'll be looking at in tonight's meeting. So if we can now have an open forum. Are there any questions? Tony, have you got anything for us?
Somebody's taken the bridge support over, you know, the bridges up towards the Nappy. Somebody's hit one of those, they're concrete verticals with tube, and they've been wiped out, and I'll put those on, sorry, outside. I'll put those on the street, fix my street, so someone happens those, but you've got nothing at all now, a 3-foot drop into the bloody water. Not that deep.
So
just after the Navy, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony. I mean, the bridge support down at the dips has also been impacted, yes, and damaged, and I have reported that.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. Okay. Anything else, Tony?
No.
Okay, in that case, we'll start the meeting proper. We've got apologies for absence from Councillor Forgem by way of holiday, and Councillor Keynes by way of a prior appointment, and I think that's all of us. Declarations of interest. I need to declare a declaration of interest, I've already said, in item 7.3, the CSA sublease.
5.3,
5.3.
by way of if the Indians teachers' house.
Right, okay.
Is
I think that's probably
Is that okay?
I think that's probably a personal interest rather than a pecuniary interest.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we'll note that.
What about the Jubilee update? Obviously, I'm involved and what we need to say what monies have gone in and out.
I don't think you need to declare an interest.
That's
You've got
what I
no
was
real personal interest in
Well,
that. At least I hope you haven't.
Only a bit of my bill.
Yeah, but we won't be discussing the bills as such tonight. There's one little item.
We won't. Oh, that's good. So maybe I'll take the money out.
Yeah. Well, we haven't added it all up. I'd be interested to know what we've got, but we'll come back to that. Ian. I don't think we need a declaration of interest. Right. In that case, we'll now agree the minutes of the previous meeting. Are there any matters of accuracy in the minutes from the 9th of May that anyone wants to raise?
Not so far as I can see.
And I take it you're okay with that, Russell? Yeah, good. Right, so that's approved. Oh, well, I'll vote. I propose approving it, and Kay is seconding, and all in support. Yes, unanimous. We now move on to the Clerks Report. And I will just try taking us through some of these items. The artificial cricket pitch has been installed. I'm pretty certain that where Steve has written that they've made a grant of, the cricket club have made a grant of £350, I think there's a naught missing off the end. I think it's 3,500, but he will know that. 2 is planning enforcement. We're going to discuss this in part 2 about the S106 threshold on the number of affordable housing. Street upgrade has started, and just so everyone is aware, in many cases they're installing aluminium posts which look silvery. Those will be painted once they've all been installed and numbered, of course. But feedback so far has been positive. I've had quite a few people in Shepperton have come back and said how nice it is. And even one favourable comment from the one that's so far been installed in the Chequers. The dog bins have been installed. We've written, well, I won't read them all out. The 2 landscaping areas by the top of Paddock Close are to be trimmed and cut by Stonewater. Steve sorted that out before he went off.
By what?
Paddock Close, the end of Fox Cupboard.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. We'll deal with 10 later. The dead conifers on the village triangle have been removed. Keynes Investment, who own Gobby's Field, have given their agreement, subject to knowing the details, of us putting some trees in there on the northern boundary, by the railway. I've asked Leo Hawkes, who is an arborologist with Milton Keynes Council, if he will help us, which he said he will do, which I think is very good of him because it's actually private ground. And there's a meeting at 2 o'clock, a site visit 2 o'clock. And so far it's Dave and Ian and me will be there. Others are welcome if you want. Next one is 14. There's, as you know, there are these new waste bins being installed across the borough across the borough from next April. There are site visits going on to make sure that houses where it's not suitable for them to have 4 waste bins are given alternatives. And we have got a site visit on the 27th. I think it's at 1 o'clock. So far, I am the only person that I have invited. Well, sorry, ward councillors are invited. There's a motley crew from MKC itself. I'm excluding you from the motley crew. I'm currently going as parish councillor. If any other parish councillors would like to.
What time is that on 27th of June?
Let me just check.
Okay.
And what my proposal is, that's at 1 o'clock, and we're meeting at the village, outside the village hall here. And board councillors, you should have had an updated note, because I spoke to Penny Fletcher about that today. What I propose is that we'll walk up to Bullington End Road, look at the Robert Edwardian houses there, come back round South Street, and the only one that I'm a little bit worried about, South Street and Prospect, New Road, Prospect Place. Well, New Road, not Prospect Place. Mortingsfield, I think is all right, isn't it?
We haven't got a lot of back garden.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, you and I can talk about that outside of this and decide what the route. I'll give you a call in. But basically, we'll just walk around that bit. The bit I'm a bit most worried about is Station Road, right down the bottom there, because that's a long walk.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that
they've got a long back garden. We can discuss it another time.
Yeah. Right. So there's that. Let me just go on elsewhere in the Clerks Report. Best kept village is now being judged. I don't know when they'll come to Castlethorpe. But if everyone could keep it the village as tidy as possible to get a good result. 19, there is we had a complaint from a resident about a garage conversion in Shepperton. We had reported that to Milton Keynes Council. One of the enforcement officers, Thomas House, has been assigned to it. He's spoken to the owner and said that they either need to get planning permission or the garage will need to be reverted back to its original state. I mean, it's not for us. We'll deal with it when the planning permission comes through. But we have always taken a view that the frontages in Shepperton do need to be maintained.
Is that yours?
Next door. We never came before us here. And apparently, they set a precedent because one needed 2 doors round. It was a garage next to a house. Before I came here, they turned the garage into a 2-story extension with a window in it. Put the garage next door. That's what the ground they got.
Yeah, I think there are ways it can be done.
Yeah,
that's acceptable. But anyway, we won't discuss it now. But we'll wait until the planning application comes in. Now, does anyone want to talk about any of the no progress items under sports? Well, starting with sports ground, there are quite a lot of them, but they're mostly no activity this last month.
I don't think so.
Right. Ward councillors, have you got anything you would like to say to us?
Well, it's fairly publicly known now that Milton Keynes has been awarded city status as part of the Jubilee celebrations, which is a massive achievement for Milton Keynes Council. Everyone who was involved in the bidding process and everyone who's tried throughout the years. In terms of the last full council, it was pretty much a ceremonial affair. The first council following the elections. We elected Councillor Amanda Marlowe to be Mayor of Milton Keynes. She's a ward councillor for Loughton and Shenley Ward. And of course, we also elected our committees as well. In terms of my appointments, I'm sticking on budget and resourcing committees and the audit committee as well. I've been elected to vice chair budget resourcing scrutiny committee.
Okay. And Liam, what short straws have you drawn?
I'm going to be on licensing and regulatory and health and I'm also a sub for planning. So
for planning, okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
lots of interesting ones.
And is George still on planning?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Good. Good. Well, thank you for that.
So Chris is the only one who can speak on planning this year.
Any other items?
No,
No.
nothing to report as such for that.
Sorry, do you want to comment?
Well, did George actually come down when the heritage people were down over the road here? Was George with them? Somebody from the council came out, apparently, with two heritage people over the pipe that Mr. has built over in Station Yard. Was it George or would it be somebody from the council?
Not sure. George did not.
No,
Yeah, George hasn't mentioned it to us.
Right.
It was probably Simon Pert or Martin, not his surname. There's the two of them in conservation. I would guess it would be one of them.
Yeah, well, Simon
Okay.
Hill apparently has tried to put stormwater in it, and they still can't decide by the sound of it, which I think is totally wrong.
Okay. Right, Jubilee update we'll come to later. The briefing note on the sublease can be dealt with when we get to that item. Right, so I think we now come to the planning applications. The first one is removing some dead wood and hanging branches in 27 South Street. Does anyone have any comments to make on that? It looks like,
She's got quite a few trees that need seeing to.
yeah, it looks like routine maintenance. So
Yeah.
no comment. So no comment. The next one is the erection of a cafe building with ancillary shower and cycle stands at Lodge Farm Business Centre. I don't know if you've all had a chance to look at it, but it's in Philip Sawbridge's usual very high standard of design. It's stone and red edged with red brick. It looks it's going to be a beautiful building. Yeah.
You have to strain a bit to see it as well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Yeah. And anyone have any comments?
The only thing people are commenting on, when you come down from Haversham, you can look across and see it. So whether we need to put some trees around it to start to cover it up.
I think you'd struggle, because it's between. In fact, I don't think you would see it. Oh, from
When you come out
from
from Haversham, when you come
Yeah.
out from Haversham, you look across there,
Okay, yeah,
and I always think it should be landscaped
yeah.
to start to to hide it.
Yeah.
If one or two people commented, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's put up his phase 2, which he obviously had planning permission for. And I'm really not convinced that you'll be able to see it because it's actually between phase 2 and phase 1.
What I'm saying is about the whole development.
Oh, the whole development. Oh, I don't think we're entitled to comment on that.
Oh, right. We should have done at the beginning.
Yeah, that would have to be done. Should have had to have been done when the phase 2 was approved. Okay, so there's no comments on the cafe. We then move to the demolition of a existing rear conservatory and the erection of a new single-storey rear sunroom at 9 Prospect Place. Again, personally, I thought that was fairly straightforward. And anyone wish to?
Second.
Next door.
Second house as you go down the path.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next door to Keith Bunker.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so no objection to that.
Nope.
That's very good. Then there is again, this is one we looked at last month, but we misunderstood what they were trying to do. Whether that was us or whether it was the wording of the application, we thought they were taking trees down.
It was the wording.
But they did contact me actually afterwards, and I said no, we probably wouldn't object to them trimming trees, and so this is, but they had to resubmit probably because the wording was needed clarification. Does anyone have any objection to the 5.4?
As long as it's seen by the Milton Keynes and is adhered to, not a problem.
Well, they will, yeah, indeed. So no objection to that. And 5.5, when I was checking this afternoon, actually that's been decided and Milton Keynes have said no objection to it. So it's a moot point as far as we're concerned. Right, does anyone have any comments to make on any of the items in section 6, which are previous planning applications that we've discussed at earlier meetings?
No point.
Now, the only one is the touring caravans at Cosgrove. At the moment, there's been nothing going down that drive. I don't know whether they've taken everything down there.
There's 2 today.
Eh?
2 came up
Well,
today.
Yeah,
What, down from Warburton and go down the drive?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, well, I went, the gentleman hadn't told me because I was going to take pictures.
but I mean, this is simply about them keeping these on site, and we have already made our comments on it. So it's, you know, it's just registered, they haven't updated it, probably because it's a complex one. Chris and Liam won't know, but Cosgrove Park is half in Milton Keynes and half in Northampton. It's called West Northampton now, whatever it's called. Sorry, East West Northampton. Is it really called East West Northampton? That's the name of the authority. And the normal access is through Cosgrove, but the delivery vans is often through Castlethorpe, and over the fields it's easier. So it makes that more complex when they're trying to get permission. But anyway, there's no update on it this month. So if no one's got any comments to make, let's then move on to resolutions. 7.1 is the exclusion of the public for the part 2 meeting, which I will propose. Darren is seconding.
Yeah.
And all in favour? Yeah, thank you, it's unanimous. Right, 7.2 is to select candidates for grant applications as part of the 2003-2004 community infrastructure round. This is 50% match funding that Milton Keynes provides to councils. We were successful this year. In fact, Steve Bradbury claims 100% success record in claiming grants. So why he would set himself up in that way, I have no idea, but he's decided to set. Now, I've put a note on your file, and basically, it is saying that the current SID operates by battery. We did get a new battery for it, and it is lasting about a week. It's back on performance, but it still does. You know, Dave still goes round every week, takes it down, charges the battery, puts it back up. I then go along, well, I go along just before it runs out usually, and download the data and send that on to the police.
Thought you were going to say you're going to run past it to see what speed you were doing.
Yeah, I know how to do that now, actually, but anyway. It is a little bit onerous, and you know, it would be a lot more convenient if we had solar-powered SIDs. They won't be quite so portable. In fact, they really aren't portable. So they probably would stay on the 2 busiest roads, which are Hanslope Road and Wolverton Road, where you get some very high speeds on both of those.
Come on, more.
Yeah.
Well, maybe keep the battery powered one.
Yeah, the battery powered one will go around on the others. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, it's almost only Bullington End Road, because although we do put it on Station Road, the average speeds that you get, the majority of traffic does follow the narrows on Station Road, and it brings the average speeds down very low there. But yes, we did. I think we did record a 72 miles an hour coming down Bullington End Road a couple of sessions ago.
Well done, Darren.
Well,
I'm going to
it's, you know,
keep speeding.
anyway,
boost it.
so
While you're on the position of that grant, in the Farmers Weekly this week or last week, the government are giving away grant money to update any village halls.
yes, I did see that.
You can claim up to £100,000.
Yeah, can we come on to that, because this resolution is about the community infrastructure fund. Now, I would like to propose that we go for these 2 SIDs, They cost, excluding VAT, just over 3,000 each. And ward councillors, if we are successful in our bid, I will be coming to you. You know the posts that go into the ground that you mount street signage on?
Yeah.
We need to get a taller one if we're going to put in a solar panel, which Milton Keynes has always done for free. But now it says, oh, because they're your SIDS, you're going to have to pay for it. And I would like you to guess, because I don't think you've been party to the correspondence, how much they claim it is to put a post into an existing hole in a highway verge.
Go
For £1,000 each,
Really ridiculous.
which I think is just outrageous. I mean, first of all, I think it speaks very badly for Milton Keynes councils contracting with Ringway that you might want to raise anyway, but certainly if we're successful in this bid, and we do have to allow the £1,000 each in our bid, then I think we would anyway go back and say this isn't right. It's not a good value for money for either council taxpayers or precept payers.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah, it would be very helpful.
Anyway, so that's what I think Dave and I would both like to do. That's £8,000, of which we would have to find £4,000, being the 50%. Would anyone like to speak on it?
If necessary, we need to do it.
No, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's complete.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I'll propose that. Can I have a second of Dave? Yeah, we'll do that. So we have resolved that we will submit an application for a grant for Community Infrastructure Fund. Right, we now move on to 7.3, where I now have to declare an interest. I can't really go away because I'm operating. But I will
Just be
quiet.
quiet for a change.
You do need to elect yourselves a chairman for this item, and then I believe Dave is going to propose.
I'll do proposal.
Oh,
So we need a,
We need you, I'm proposing you, so need to second you.
can I do both?
Yeah.
Okay. All right then.
David Hines.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like you to approve the renewal of the sublease between CVSA and Udi and Dina,
Not a problem.
please.
yeah.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, I relinquish chairmanship.
Right, so I will then report for the record that that resolution has been approved, proposed Dave Hines, and was there a seconder? Was that? Oh, that was Ian Markham, and it was unanimous with me declaring an interest and not taking part in the discussion. Now, the next item is to consider comments on the Milton Keynes Council Together We Can document. Let me just call this up because I have put some short draft comments in your in the folder, and you won't have got that. You can read that here, but I'll read them. My comments are that the document is already outdated. It's got a date on it of 2021, and it refers to having just completed the tough year of 2020. So it all reads rather oddly. The membership of the parish's advisory group, which I do sit on, and had a really quite a almost a terminal argument in the sense that I sort of withdrew with Councillor Darlington about the membership of the parish's advisory group, and I think that I'd understood that Councillor Townsend had taken a more conciliatory attitude and had agreed that the group would consist of 6 local councillors, 3 nominated by the cabinet member and 3 by MALC, the local association of councils. So this might be an outdated draft, but in my view, this version cannot be supported. Generally, although the document is innocuous, there is a feeling, and I know this from other parish councils, that MKC has become much more distant from local councils. The chief executive, for example, engages with clerks, but he doesn't engage with local councillors. There was a planning forum, which was only open to clerks and not to councillors, despite the fact that it's actually the councillors who debate and make the decisions on whether we're going to object to planning. And service heads constantly push contact down to a lower level of their organisation. As I'm thinking particularly of highways here, where I used to know really quite closely all the heads of highways up until the current one, even including Divina Millership. But I couldn't even, I think his name's Graham Cox.
Yeah, correct.
But I mean, I've never met him. I've never seen him speak at any of our forums. We do well with Naveed Ahmed, who liaises with us, but she is several levels down in the organisation. She gives us good service, but I do feel that's not right. There were promised to be induction briefings, and when I was chair of MALC, I gave about 2, but that was about 3 or 4 years ago. And to my knowledge, these were induction briefings on local councils, parishes, given to new senior MKC management. So someone would come into post in Milton Keynes Council, they have a whole series of induction briefings, and one of them was meant to be about the parishes. And as far as I'm aware, that's not happening either. So I think, engagement needs to improve dramatically if we're ready to work together. I put my notes, in your folder, and I propose that that's our response. I mean, I'm guessing that most councillors probably don't, have a lot of that contact, but anyway. Okay, so I propose, and everyone's happy with that, yeah?
Yeah.
It's not financial, so I can just go, right, very good.
Who seconded?
It doesn't need a second, it's not financial. Right, the next one is to thank the organisation helpers for the Jubilee celebrations. And I do want to, I did put a note out over the weekend, and Russell has put that on, let me just bring that up.
There's a note on Facebook.
Yeah, Russell's put it on Facebook, and there you go. Ian, you won't have seen it, obviously, but I've described the events that we've had, and then I've really listed everybody there that actually helped, and it was really quite tremendous. I mean, we had 3 really successful events over the holidays. Those of you there would know, and the picnic on this Saturday, I really thought we were going to get blown away at first, and then the rain came down, and then it magically cleared, didn't it? And it was a very good day. And Ian here was on the hog roast the whole time, and I think thanks to him, Richard Brewer and Helen, and Dina also provided pakoras and samosas.
Well, I've dealt with Dina, etc. If you want to come on to the finance of this bit now.
Yeah, I will. We'll come on, but I just want us all.
I'm
sure we're all at one to thank the people in the village.
Yeah.
Well, we're parish councillors, and we're parish councillors. We should all have a thing in doing it. And Phil has done a lot of work. David's been there doing bits in the morning, etc. I don't want IB. And Russell's done a lot of things, but the rest of it, I was not amused. But at the end of the day, I would really love to thank Ashley, Yordi and Poppy, because they were the most influential people that were around. I know when I come in here on Friday, it was only for a little while, and there was plenty of help here. Kay was up there, Faith, etc. And a lot of people put a lot of work into this, and it was hard work having it over 3 days. Really hard.
Yeah, I think in fairness, I would say that the parish councils that did get involved did so in their personal capacity. Because we actually did say that we couldn't manage it as a
I did say in January how it could be done.
But, you know, it was fantastic. And as you rightly say, Ashley and Polly, actually, not Polly, Polly, yeah.
Poppy, isn't it?
Polly.
Polly.
Polly Lewis, as was, Polly McGee, as is.
Polly, right there.
You know, took over that organisation, and without them, it wouldn't have happened. But that's fantastic. Turning to the money, if I can just deal in kind of in sequence.
Yeah.
On the Friday, there was a bowl for donations that was kept at the side there. And people put money in there, I think, to defray the expenses of the cakes and teas and so on. But there weren't any expenses. People donated those cakes and the tea and whatever. There may have been a couple of quid here or there, but you know, it's almost not worth worrying about. But money was put in there. My opinion is that when residents put money in there, and some of them actually said as much, they said, you know, it's for a worthy cause. And actually, come the end of it, there was 400 quid in there. Now, I think that should be for the organisers to determine where it goes, because it wasn't given to the parish council. I imagine they will do something like Willen or the church or something, you know.
See what's left over.
Yeah, and it will be that. I know that they're going to use a little bit of the money, but it will only be a little bit, to put 2 Queen Elizabeth roses in the new flower bed on the green, which is obviously, it's called the Jubilee flower bed and stuff like that. So is that broadly acceptable? Is there for them to decide how to yeah.
So what's going to happen to it? Sorry.
They will decide.
What money's left? What money's left over?
It'll be the organisers. It will be Ashley, Polly, and that little committee will decide where they want to put the money. And as I say, I'm fairly certain it will be a good cause. Good. So we're agreed on that. Now, turning to Saturday. Ian, would you like to
Yes,
say?
I will. As I said to the committee over there, the hot roast would cost £650.
Yeah.
He's done that cheaper for me, but at the end of the day, you've got my bill here. I haven't charged for everything by any means.
There's no reason why you shouldn't.
But I am what I am.
You are what you are. Indeed. No one would deny that.
That's mine.
120, yeah.
And that's Dina's. I've had a sort out with Dina.
250, okay. Very good.
£500 in cash there. There was £480 and 50 pence. So I made it up to 500. So it's simple.
Right. So we've got 650, that's 900, that's £1,020 altogether in costs. And we've got 500 there, and we've got 260 that came through on the card machine.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Karen emailed me.
Right.
So I need some sums here. What did I say? I said 1,020.
1,050.
1,020, call it. And we've got, what did you say? You've got 500 there plus 260. So basically, we said that we would underwrite that. So it's 520. We're going to have about what's that? 260, another 260 to. Have I got that right?
Oh, then.
Yeah, I think there's another 260 that we've got to pay, because we as a council said we would underwrite that. It's not on tonight's payment schedule,
No.
for obvious reasons, but if we can.
Well, I'd like if you could part on when I'm sure Dina ain't gonna worry, when you got the cash here for Dina, whatever. But if you can organise to do a check with the chap for the pig, not a problem. Otherwise, you're gonna have to wait. I shall have to tell you.
Yeah, I could probably add it onto the schedule tonight if everyone's okay with that. Yeah. Yeah, and we'll do that. All right. Thank you. Right, so very successful, very successful.
I think Dean has been fantastic, me and her work together,
Yeah.
because Julie wants everything to be top dollar. Me and Dean have worked it out together, she's come out on the right side, she's happy, and I'm happy how what she supplied, because we had some lettuce left over, some tomatoes left over, some cucumbers left over, and she had it back and give us some money back.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you. Right. I think what we'll do that. I'll add that into the payment schedule when we come to that in a moment. The next one is to approve the final spec to be sent to Castlethorpe Parish Council for the 2023 landscaping tender. Now, what I would do, there are two maps on your folder. They're ever so difficult, Ian.
Oh, tell me about it.
I mean, here we go.
There's a couple of things here that ought to be done, not done, or should be done.
Right. So if I just take map 1, which is basically the east side of the village, can you see that, Ian? That looks pretty much, well, you've got Hanslope Road, both sides, the triangle running round North Street. You've got All Station Road, the fish ponds and the little track there, and then coming round those bits by the War Memorial, and on the other side up from the school. That all looks pretty standard. It's in scope at the moment, and I think that all looks fine. Yeah.
The only thing I can comment that is up our road, Darren. Is we used to have the grass cut a lot farther back on my side of the road, didn't we? They're not doing it. They're not cut. They're only going about 10 feet if that past the white thing. I have been doing it. I got told up for one to trying to do it. I paid somebody today to cut the grass verge all the way along, but some of it they should be doing it.
Yeah. What does it say in there, Ian? It should say that they should cut beyond
20 metres, 60 foot.
beyond all the gates.
Yeah.
That would do you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but don't do it.
Yeah, they don't do it. Well, they will have to do it next year. Okay. Now, turning to map 2, there's what I would call the easy bit, which is coming round North Street, South Street, Wolverton Road, coming up Bullington End Road. That's all straightforward. There's the Thrupp Close play area, or Bullington End Road play area, depending on where you live. Now, but there is an issue in Thrupp Close, which is, see if I can do this, no, I can't. Which is that I think the only areas in Thrupp Close that are currently cut and which should be included in the scope is the hedge on the right-hand side as you go in, the little bit just at the end of that where you go around the corner into phase 2, and the hedge immediately opposite on the other side of that. I think everything else is down to the landowners. I mean, I've actually put included in here, a hedge which is actually on my land at the back of my house. You know, which clearly they've never cut it, and similarly I mean, so I know for a fact that the householders look after it, and I just think we need to take that out of scope. Can I just ask Russell? I sent you a note asking if you'd be able to mark this up to remove it at some point, Russell. Would you be able to do that? If not now, but when you get back to the village?
Yes, yeah. I'm sorry about the feedback, but yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, so Russell will just mark that up. Is there anything else that we need to say? If it's got 20 metres beyond the fences here, and that needs to be enforced.
They've never ever done the opposite side of the road for me. Never ever.
Well, you know, we'll get.
I'll
get the clerk onto that.
I went arse over it, which is my print, but I went arse over it trying to do it the other week.
Right.
With a strimmer. Not right.
No, you shouldn't do that. Right. Is everyone happy with that to go, or any other comments?
No, I'm not happy with them.
Well, we can always come back to it.
It's very difficult to read the maps.
It was, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, unbelievably so.
So, yeah, a lot of faith in them, so, yeah.
And this go to tender again.
Yes, it is, yeah. But I have to say, I'm very, I hope residents are, but I'm very pleased with the standard of the cutting that we've had since we took it over.
The only comment I've got there is we're going to run into a problem when they spring round these trees. We're going to keep killing them and keep killing them. They should weed killer them round them. Because we're going to lose these three lovely trees up here on the side of this grass bird. I know Smudge or Smithy, what his name, but young Emerson, that.
Yeah, Stephen, yeah.
Stephen. But if we're not careful, we're going to lose all these trees.
Okay, well, I will ask the clerk when he writes up these minutes to take an action to talk to RTM
Yeah, but
about being more careful this year, and when a new contractor is appointed, which may well be RTM next year, that they are also reminded, as Ian has said.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point.
well, it's as good as what's killed the cherry tree and the checkers.
Okay. Incidentally, just to go off at a random point, if we can try and remember on Wednesday also to ask Leo about what's happening with the tree on the triangle. Yeah. Right, I think that's everything then. So on the basis of that and the spec sheet, which you've also had, we're happy then to send this on to Hansel.
Yeah.
As soon as Russell's been able to do his magic to annotate the bits in Thrupp Close, which are outside of the scope. Right, we now move on to the payment schedule. And this has changed quite a bit during the course of the day. It's just about to change again. So the latest version you will need to look at on your screens. I've just got one printed copy here, and I need to write on it. Well, first of all, are there any questions on the current payment schedule? And Ian, you will need to look at this one if you can see it.
Yeah. It's about the same, isn't it?
It's about the same, but there are some extras. Like, I mean, some of them are very small items, like David Spinelli and New Pavilion Key.
Yeah, it's got that,
There's we put in Marlborough Electrical, which only came in at about 6 o'clock tonight, or I only saw it at 6 o'clock tonight. It came in on the contact Castlethorpe PC address, a small one from there. So those are they. And Ian has asked that we add in long row hog roasts.
Yeah, K. O'Brien. It's K. O'Brien, Kevin O'Brien.
I'm sorry.
What's the map? Check to both.
Kevin. Right.
The address is there, obviously.
Yeah.
Or you can bring Ancillary.
Hog roast.
That's what you do with me and Dina and this.
Okay. Touched invoice, and it is 650. So with that amendment, is everybody okay for this? So I'll formally propose this. I need a seconder, which is Darren, and all in favour. Thank you. Right, so 650 there.
Are you going to take responsibility of that, please?
Oh, blimey, really?
Yeah.
Actually, I really don't want to. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I am not here for the 4th of July meeting, and my overlap with Steve is very, very brief.
So, yeah.
So if the meeting would note that Mr. Markham is not.
I'm holding the dosh.
Can you sign there, please?
I think so.
Right. After the meeting, I will need a signature. I've written up most of the, in fact, I've written up all of the checks.
Would I have permission to pay Dina out of this cash?
Yeah.
250.
To pay 250.
And I take my 120.
Yeah.
Job done.
And then the balance, which is
Balance, okay.
30, the 30 is to go to Steve when he gets back. Okay. Okay.
I'll write it on it now. Me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will need to do the last one at the end, but
Sure.
rather than taking the meeting.
Me to pay
Yeah.
shop.
Okay, so that's, everyone's happy with that. Ian's going to use the £500, pay 250 to Dina, take 120 for himself, which leaves 130 to go to Steve, to go into our account. Okay.
If you can find those two, then please, and we know where they are.
So what's been added, sorry, to the payment schedule? I said it was amendment £650 for the whole road.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
well,
the
if
new
you're
one.
looking
Yeah,
at the
that's
one
fine.
that's on your screen,
Yeah.
that is the only
Yeah.
thing that needs to be added to it. I have added other things as receipts have come in.
No, but
since
the last one was
but
fine.
I made it up, I put it onto the copy, which is on your.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You need to give those to Steve.
I'll give those to Steve with the balance of the money.
Right.
Got one off me mind.
Now, 8.2 is a, can you give that to Steve as well?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I need that one time
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree to pay check and I'll sign it if you want.
Well.
Do you want me to sign it? You sign it. Let's come on, let's have it right.
Yeah.
You sign it and I'll sign it.
Okay.
We got 3 witnesses.
I'll bring it back to you.
Yeah. He'll come and pick it up.
Yeah, okay. Right. So all done. Fantastic. Right, now the other major item that we have to approve is the annual return. The internal auditor's report is the first one, which is 8.2. And this is by Jane Olive, and yeah, and she's made a few recommendations about expanding the asset register, financial strategy put in place, which we'll have to discuss, alternative investments which will increase the security of the capital sum. I think she's unhappy with CCLA property because it is a property fund, but actually it is, you know, we did take that, you know, we investigated that quite carefully, and I think we were comfortable that it was sufficiently secure. And consideration to displaying financial information. So on that basis, then the AGAR, the annual report, has been prepared. I have, because Steve wasn't here and we had to sign it and so on, you will see that it is signed, but I need a formal resolution to approve it if you have read through it and are satisfied it is an accurate
I
statement.
have read that.
Yeah. Is everyone content with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jane,
In
very
that
good.
case, I will propose that it is accepted and we accept this report. The AGAR down is seconding and all in favour, yeah? So I will now submit this to our external auditors tomorrow on behalf of the council in Steve's absence. So thank you for that. Right, correspondence received, to my knowledge, none. Any other business?
Yes. I have said about the grant you can claim for the village hall.
Yeah.
And my other
Russell, are you aware of the grants available for village halls? Oh, you can't really talk without feedback. Well, if
No, I wasn't, but I'll liaise with Ian about it.
okay, thank you. So Russell will liaise with you when he gets back.
my only other issue is, and it's still on my brain, and it is, they've built that house, and I'm still, I'd love to meet the heritage people. Apparently 2 heritage people were down there with a councillor, and so they said, and certain gentlemen said it was George. Well, it was George. But Simon Hill has tried to put the stormwater in. That has never been a stormwater. As I keep saying to you, and the number of people that have come to me says this is on their agenda. The number of people that are I'm 70. So I'm talking somebody the other day come and tap me on the shoulder. He's 10 years older than me. And I've got people that are only 30. And they've all been under that railway across. That is the tunnel.
Yeah.
From that storm, the other side you go through the slip gate, that is a tunnel. Across there to Castle House. And Trevor Morley shut it off his end. And I think And I can't think, wasn't Mr. Kenton, there was a gentleman before. He blocked it off where it went from his house, from Dower House, not Castle, Dower House, to the church to the vestry. And I think we should have somebody really come and look at it before it's destroyed.
Okay.
And I mean that, I really seriously mean it. That is our heritage to the village. That's there from 14, somebody's come to me and they said it's 1471, they thought, when the port was here or something.
Right. Well,
They're all poo-pooing each other. That is never, ever a storm drain. I can tell you, there's only water.
so I'm just trying to think how we deal with it, actually.
Come and get somebody to talk to me and tell me, I'll take them up the tunnel. When you
Yeah,
get
no, I was definitely going to do that. I'm trying to think about who the person is that I need to talk to.
somebody
I
small.
think probably it'll have to be, I'll have to look up and see who the case officer is for the site, because they ought to be dealing with the discharge of conditions there. And that's when they'll, and I'll say, you know, that you would like to talk to them.
Too bloody right.
Okay,
There's been some twisting of arms by the sound of it.
right.
As I said, when that's dry, when you get a horrendous amount of rain, it gradually seeps water through the tunnel. Apart from that, and John Keynes got, and I like the pictures that John Keynes got of the, when it was exposed down there.
Yeah, I've got some as well.
Who
Yeah.
you arranged
Station
this
yard.
meeting with?
Heritage people need.
The heritage.
Well, no,
Well, be Milton Keynes for a start.
Just let me, sorry, I can't.
it
hear
will
both
be,
of you.
it will be with the case officer.
The case officer
Who's
for
for station yard.
the station yard, thank you.
I'll look up who it is and then I'll.
One gentleman come to me, he says, "My 2 kids went under it, I wonder where they'd gone for the day."
All right, I'll do that. Anything else in?
No, that's it.
Did I see you raising?
Yeah, so 22 North Street on the bend, have you seen the, I've got a picture of it, I was going to send it before I went on holiday, but I forgot. But the curb's been knocked, something went round there.
Yeah,
So in the morning, I took the kids to school and it was fine, walked back in the afternoon, and so the
yeah.
new curb was just put in a confusion.
Have you reported it?
No, I just.
Yeah.
Gonna say-
I mean, I'll try and remember to report it. I did actually take a photograph of it, but it's been so busy with Jubilee.
Yeah,
and all the rest of it.
I mean, I'm happy to report it, just need to.
Yeah,
Just
we'll
do it on.
Yeah, if you would, yeah, just go on and report it down.
Report it on
And
MKC.
take a photograph as
Yeah.
well. They've got a new website, see how you get on with that.
I've been on, I go on all the time to put the tips on.
Yeah. Right, any other business? I've just got one point just to draw everyone's attention to. It's not for action at the moment. As part of the Milton Keynes land allocation strategy, there is a call for sites that went out in January and closed at the end of April. I think it's the end of April or the end of May. It's closed anyway. Inviting landowners to put forward land for development for inclusion in the long-term plan for Milton Keynes Council. I know, because you saw from the letter, that the owners of Gobbies are putting that land in, but that's not to worry overly at this stage. There are a number of other landowners around who will have put land in. It's just, it's almost, you know, you'd be almost derelict in your own financial security not to. But we will have to keep an eye on it. Certainly, I would imagine that we would put forward a fairly strenuous objection, really on the same lines as the appendix that we put into our neighbourhood plan, where we detailed why it should have been a local green space. Didn't make that cut, but I think it should make the cut of not being included. Ian?
Right, there's 2 things here. One, I don't know what my brother and sister are doing with my mother's land. Nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I'm the black sheep, don't worry. The other one is, I have had, and a number of people have had, letters from Kingman or somebody, some developers, trying to buy whatever land they can. Even sent Pat a letter. They're all lots of rats up a drain pipe, don't they?
Yeah.
Drain pipe.
Yeah. Well, they're going to try and, I mean, obviously, with the target for Milton Keynes which I have to say I'm not sure I agree with, but I'm not in administration, of 500,000 by 2050. There is going to be a lot more land that will be needed. My own view is, if there is a policy, that's formally adopted by Milton Keynes Council and Plan MK, that there's got to be some land brought forward, and Milton Keynes Council says to us, you have got to provide land for so many houses, then we will go through a site assessment with the residents, and we will come up and say, this is our preferred site, and for these reasons. What we don't want is it just being, somebody jamming it in and destroying the envelope of the village and making it unbalanced and so on. Yes, anyway, that's my personal view on what should happen.
So you need to keep in touch with us.
Yeah, I have asked, I did write to the ward councillors, and they have said yes, they would do that. Right, any other business?
No.
Next meeting is 4th of July. Now, there is one other point which I did raise, and I really would encourage you, it's 11.2. Bucks, Association of Local Councils, is running a code of conduct training, also on the 4th of July from 10 till 4. The details of it are on the shared drive, and I really would commend that you do these. I don't know how you do the training, Kay. It's the only one that's going to be this year, and it is all about the standards that we expected and how they change. Anyway, I can only commend it. Right, I would do it. I will be away.
So do we need to book on?
Yeah. I think it's actually on the. It's actually on in the email. This machine's just gone to sleep. Sorry, no, that's back up. Hang on, and I'll tell you.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty certain it's. If you look at 11.2, you'll see it. Yeah, shows you how to book on the website. That's at the bottom of this thing, yeah, and it shows you there. Okay. Good. So that's the end of part 1 of the meeting. At this stage, Tony, to ask if you would. You've got an early night. I am convinced that these meetings only take so long because when Steve's here.
No, don't.
Does that mean I can go?
Depending what Markham's got to say, well, I'll say it.
Right. So I'm now going to stop the live stream. So thank you to any residents who've been watching, and I hope that covered some points.